I want to talk to you about something that happens quietly, gradually, and for most men, completely without warning. You wake up one morning and realize that something that used to be automatic, something your body did without any effort at all, has simply stopped showing up reliably. Morning firmness fades. Response becomes unpredictable, and the desire is still there, completely intact, but the body just does not answer the way it used to. Most men, when this starts happening, go straight to one conclusion: my testosterone must be dropping. It is just age. There is nothing I can do. And I understand why that conclusion feels logical. But after 12 years of working in men's health and vascular physiology, I need to tell you something that will completely change how you understand this problem. For the majority of men over 60, this is not primarily a hormone issue. It is a circulation issue. And circulation, even in later life, is something we can absolutely influence through what we eat. Today, I am going to tell you about one specific food that does something remarkable inside your blood vessels. A food that has been studied in cardiovascular research, urology journals, and aging physiology, and keeps showing up at the top of the list for men who want to support their vascular health naturally. It is not exotic. You have probably walked past it in the grocery store dozens of times without giving it a second thought. But stay with me, because by the time this video ends, you are going to understand your own body in a way most men never do. Before we get into it, hit that like button right now, subscribe if you have not already, and drop a comment below telling me where you are watching from. I want to know who is in this community. Let us get into the science. Let me ask you something. If I told you that erectile difficulty in men over 60 is one of the earliest warning signs of cardiovascular disease, not a consequence of aging, not a testosterone deficiency, but an early signal from your blood vessels, would that change how you approached it? It should, because that is exactly what the research shows. Here is the biology, explained simply. An erection is a vascular event. It is entirely dependent on blood flow. When arousal signals travel from the brain to the pelvic region, they trigger the release of a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide tells the blood vessels in that region to relax, widen, and fill. When they do, firmness follows. It is that mechanical, that direct. Now here is where aging creates the problem. After the age of 55, the cells that line your blood vessels, called endothelial cells, begin to lose efficiency. They produce less nitric oxide. The vessels themselves become stiffer, more inflamed, less responsive to signals. Oxidative stress accumulates. The whole system becomes sluggish. And because the blood vessels serving that region are among the smallest in the body, they show this decline earlier than anywhere else. This is why many doctors now recognize erectile changes as an early cardiovascular signal years before any chest pain or breathlessness appears. So what does this mean for you practically? It means that if you have been focused entirely on testosterone-taking supplements, worrying about hormone levels, you may have been looking in the wrong direction. The real target is your blood vessel health, your nitric oxide availability, your vascular responsiveness, and that is exactly where today's food comes in. My name is Dr. Narita, and for 12 years I have specialized in men's vascular health, aging physiology, and the intersection between nutrition and sexual health. I have sat across from hundreds of men who were frustrated, embarrassed, and quietly losing confidence, men who had tried everything they could think of and still felt like their body was working against them. What I started noticing, as I went deeper into the research, was a consistent pattern. The men who were doing best maintaining firmness, reporting better morning response, feeling more energetic and vital overall, shared certain nutritional habits, and one food in particular kept appearing. Not a supplement, not a prescription, food. One that works through a specific, well-documented physiological mechanism, one that has been studied in seniors specifically, and one that is sitting in the produce section of your grocery store right now, probably being completely overlooked. That food is beetroot. Let me tell you exactly why it works and why it matters specifically for men over 60. Before you scroll past because you think this is too simple, stay with me, because the mechanism here is genuinely remarkable. Mechanism number 1, the nitric oxide problem and how beetroot solves it differently. We have established that aging reduces nitric oxide production. The enzymes that normally manufacture it slow down. The endothelial cells that release it become less efficient. And the result is that blood vessels stop responding the way they should. Most interventions try to stimulate those same aging pathways. They push a system that is already struggling. Beetroot does something fundamentally different. Beetroot is one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates on the planet. And here is the key. When you consume those nitrates, your body converts them into nitric oxide through an entirely separate pathway, one that runs through your saliva and your gut bacteria, not through the aging enzymes, not through the damaged endothelial cells. This alternative pathway remains active and efficient, even in older adults. It essentially bypasses the part of the system that is broken and delivers nitric oxide through a back door that age has not closed yet. That is why beetroot has been studied so extensively in seniors specifically. Researchers were not interested in it for young athletes. They were interested in it precisely because it works differently in aging bodies. What the research actually shows, clinical studies in older adults have found that regular beetroot consumption is associated with improved arterial flexibility, measurable reductions in blood pressure, and better oxygen delivery to tissues throughout the body, including pelvic tissue. In cardiovascular research, blood flow improvements have been detected within 2 to 3 hours of consumption, and with consistent daily intake, those improvements accumulate. For men experiencing gradual vascular decline, what this means practically is that the vessels that need to respond, the ones that have not been getting adequate nitric oxide, begin to function better over time. Morning response gradually returns, firmness and duration improve, not dramatically overnight, but measurably and meaningfully over weeks. Mechanism number 2, the inflammation factor. Here is something that does not get discussed enough in conversations about men's health. Chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that builds silently over years of modern diet, poor sleep, and accumulated stress, is one of the most damaging forces acting on your blood vessels after 60. Inflammation stiffens arterial walls, it interferes with nerve signaling, it worsens insulin resistance, and for men with diabetes, prediabetes, or metabolic syndrome, it is an enormous driver of vascular dysfunction. Beetroot contains powerful anti-inflammatory compounds, betalains, and polyphenols that have been shown to reduce inflammatory markers, including CRP. This is not a minor side benefit. For many men over 60, reducing vascular inflammation is the single most important thing they can do for circulation and therefore for sexual health. Mechanism number 3, the brain connection nobody talks about. There's one more piece of this that genuinely surprised me when I first encountered the research. Erections do not begin in the pelvis. They begin in the brain. The arousal signal originates in your nervous system and travels downward, which means that brain circulation matters. Studies in older adults have shown that dietary nitrate consumption, including from beetroot, measurably increases blood flow to the frontal lobe. Better cerebral circulation means cleaner neural signaling, better arousal integration, and improved response to stimulation. So beetroot is not just helping the vessels in one region. It is supporting the entire vascular network from brain to body that an erection actually requires. When and how to use it? Timing matters here, and I want to be specific. Morning consumption is most effective ideally before or with breakfast, on a relatively empty stomach. This is when the nitrate conversion process runs most efficiently, and blood flow improvements tend to peak within 2 to 3 hours, supporting both vascular and cognitive function through the morning and into the afternoon. As for form whole cooked beetroot, lightly steamed or eaten raw and grated works well for most men. Fresh beetroot juice works faster but should be diluted and used with caution by men with a history of kidney stones due to oxalate content. If you have any kidney concerns, speak with your doctor before adding regular juice to your routine. Quantity does not need to be large. Half a cup of cooked beetroot or 1 small glass of diluted fresh juice consumed consistently each morning, that is what the research supports. This is about daily habits, not large doses. Let me give you a clear, simple plan. This week, add beetroot to your morning routine. Half a cup of cooked beetroot alongside your breakfast, or a small glass of diluted fresh juice 30 minutes before eating. That is the starting point. Combine it with these habits and the results improve significantly. Light morning movement, even a 10-minute walk, amplifies nitric oxide response. Staying hydrated supports blood viscosity and circulation. Reducing late-night heavy meals improves overnight vascular recovery. And avoid the things that directly destroy nitric oxide. Smoking is the most damaging single factor, followed by excess alcohol and high evening sugar intake. If those habits remain unchanged, no food can fully compensate for the damage they cause. Give it 3 to 4 weeks of consistency before you evaluate. The changes are not overnight. They are physiological, real, and they build with time. One important note: if you are currently taking nitrate medications for heart disease,